At the end of part 1, Shawn Michaels had turned his back on his partner Marty Jannetty and on the fans to pursue a singles career. Michaels would be managed by sensational Sherry. The original plan was for Michaels to settle his differences with his former partner in a huge match at WrestleMania 8. But less than 2 weeks after the barbershop incident, Party Marty got into a spot of bother. Marty was out partying in a bar, something which was very, very rare for that man, when his companion, a 19-year-old female, tried to use a fake ID to buy drinks. The cops were called and an officer tried to arrest the 19-year-old. Now, Marty was being a good citizen and merely voiced his disapproval at the conduct of the arresting officer, but for some reason the officer took exception to this and arrested Marty. Unfortunately for Marty, the officer searched him and found some of what the kids are now calling magical happy dust upon his person. Following this, Marty was placed under 6 months of house arrest and fired by the Big Vinnie Mac Daddy. This was a big blow to Shawn Michaels' singles career, just as it had started. They had planned a big match for WrestleMania. The plans were no longer possible. And what do we do when things go wrong? We call in Tito Santana. Michaels would defeat Santana at WrestleMania 8. And no, this isn't a mistake or some kind of joke, that really was the finishing move he used back then. Despite this terrible finishing move, Michaels would continue to have success, and in the same year would also capture his first singles title, becoming the WWF Intercontinental Champion for the first time after defeating the British Bulldog. Marty Jannetty would also make a return and would come from the crowd, attempting to smash a mirror over Michaels' head, but Michaels would pull his manager Sherry in front of him, causing Party Marty to smash the mirror over Sherry's head instead. Jannetty would challenge Michaels to a match at the 1993 Royal Rumble. Sherry, who had now recovered from her injuries, would be at ringside. The question was, whose side would she be on? Well, that would be revealed during the match when the referee was knocked down. Sherry would enter the ring and try to hit Michaels with a shoe, but Michaels would duck and she would end up nailing Jannetty, allowing Michaels to win with the super kick, which was a lot better than that god-awful back suplex. After the match, Jannetty and Michaels were both brought backstage, and surely this would end with a big match at WrestleMania 9. Finally, we're going to get to see it. Michaels and Jannetty, the man who turned his back on him, and Jannetty is finally going to get even in surely what would go down as a classic match. But no, that wouldn't happen because Jannetty would be fired again. This was because the match between the two wasn't as good as expected. According to Jannetty, he was very sleep deprived during the match, and that is why it was a very disappointing performance. But rumours soon spread that it was because he was under the influence of some fun substances, and Jannetty has said that he believes it was Michaels who spread this rumour to Vince McMahon in order to get him fired. So now with WrestleMania 9 fast approaching, and for the second year in a row his planned opponent being fired, they needed a new opponent for Michaels. But unfortunately, Tito Santana was busy with Papa Shango, so instead they decided to go with Tatanka. The Native American would just replace Marty in this feud, and the pair would square off as part of one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. Tatanka would defeat Shawn Michaels by countout, winning the match, but not the Intercontinental title. After the match, Mr. Perfect, who had just lost his match to the narcissist Lex Luger, got into a bit of a brawl with Michaels. Well, it wasn't in the arena setting that I'm showing here, but unfortunately there is no garage arena with loads of cardboard boxes. But that's where it happened, and the two would begin a feud. And then, out of the blue, in May of 1993, Marty Jannetty would come back again, challenging Michaels to a match for the Intercontinental title, and he only bloody went and won it. During this time, Michaels and his real life friend Razor Ramon were watching WCW and saw a guy by the name of Vinny Vegas, who had previously been known as Oz and had also been known as the Master Blaster. For some reason, possibly drugs, they both saw something in Vinny Vegas, and Michaels convinced the Big Vinnie Mac Towing Company to bring Vegas into the WWF and to make him his bodyguard. He would become known as Diesel. Michaels would have a rematch for the belt and would win it back from Jannetty with help from his new bodyguard Diesel. Michaels would then go on to defend the Intercontinental belt at SummerSlam 93 against Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect would look close to winning the match, hitting the Perfect Plex, and Mr. Perfect would get attacked by Diesel before he could get the cover and get the 3 count, causing him to get counted out. Things would continue to go well for Michaels until September of that year, after a huge scandal surrounding drug and steroid use in the WWF. They had implemented a strict drug testing policy for all the wrestlers, and Michaels was told that he had tested positive for steroids. Because of this, he was suspended and had that belt taken away from him. Michaels would return from his suspension a couple of months later at Survivor Series 1993, replacing Jerry Lawler in a match against the Hart family. Jerry Lawler wasn't there because he was dealing with accusations that his real name wasn't actually Jerry Lawler and that his real name was Peter File. During Shawn's absence, Razor Ramon had won the vacant Intercontinental title, which would lead to a feud between the two. As Michaels had never actually lost the belt, he claimed that he was still champion. This feud would result in a classic match at WrestleMania 10. To settle the dispute over the belts, both Michaels' old belt and Razor Ramon's new belt would both be hung above the ring. Whoever could climb the ladder and reach both belts would be declared the undisputed Intercontinental Champion. This was the first televised ladder match in the history of the WWF, and although Razor would be victorious, Michaels really put on a show in what went down as an all-time classic. Ramon would end up losing the belt to Diesel shortly after this match with help from Michaels. Michaels and Diesel would continue this great run by defeating the Head Shrinkers to capture the WWF Tag Team titles, meaning that Michaels and Diesel held every belt between them other than the WWF Championship. This wouldn't last long though, as Diesel would lose the Intercontinental title to Razor Ramon at SummerSlam 94. Michaels would once again try to interfere, but Razor ducked when Michaels tried hitting him with the Sweet Chin Music and ended up hitting Diesel instead, costing his partner the match and the title. Things would continue to go badly for Diesel and Michaels at Survivor Series 1994, with Michaels once again ended up hitting Diesel with a super kick after Razor Ramon ducked. I mean, come on, you've done it twice in a row now. You should have learnt your lesson. This resulted in Diesel chasing after Michaels and ending their alliance. This would also end up with them both being stripped of the tag team titles. Diesel would defeat Bob Backlund to win the WWF Championship not long after this match. With him and Michaels feuding, they ended up building up to a match between the two at WrestleMania 11 for the WWF title. Before the match, Michaels would announce his new bodyguard as Psycho Sid. Diesel would win the match at WrestleMania and would retain the WWF title. The following night, Shawn's new bodyguard Sid would turn on him and Diesel would come out to save Shawn, with the pair once again reuniting. And at this time, the team of Michaels and Diesel would start to make an impact both in the ring and backstage on the locker room. And we will delve into all of that in part 3.